Let's check out our next problem. We have insertion sorts part 1 from HackerRank. Okay. So one common task for computers is to sort data. For example, people might want to see all their files on a computer sorted by size. Okay. Since sorting is a simple problem with many different possible solutions, it is often used to introduce the study of the algorithms. Alright, insertion sort is the challenges will cover this insertion sort, a simple and intuitive sorting algorithm. We will first start with a merely sorted list. Okay. Given a sorted list with an unsorted number, we will start from the rightmost cell of an array list. I think. Can you write some simple code? Okay. Assume you are given an array. You are given the array of like this, index 0 to 4. Store the value of fourth value. I think it talks about the last element of the array. Now test your index value successfully from 3 to 0 until you reach the value is lower than the fourth element of the array, the last element of the array. In this case, each time your test fails, copy the value at the lower index to the current index and print your array. So this is an example. I think there will be a function description. So I think we have a method to write, and solution is already provided. So we will just be focusing on the insertion sorts method, and we have an example of the problem. So we will have an array and an integer. I think this represents the size of the array. And each time we will start from the last element of the array. I think we are going to check for if the last element 3 is bigger than the before the last element of the array. I mean it's 5. Is 5 bigger than 3? Yes. So the last element is going to be equal to 5. And I think we are going to just store the last element in a variable so that we can just make arrangements in the array. After that, we are going to just again, I think, compare 3 with the other element before the second element, which is 4. So is 4 greater than 3? Yes. Then we are going to make 5 equal to 4, right? And after that, we will check if 2 is greater than 3. If it is, we are going to just insert 3 after the second value of the array. So we have function description. We are not going to return anything. We are just going to print, I think. Okay. Let's at first store our insertion value, which will be the last element of the list, which it mentions here, if you read it clearly. So 3 is removed from the end of the array, right? Okay. So we are going to just store the last element, which will be inserted in the array in a correct order. So let's call this value as insertion. And from array list we will get last elements, right? N minus 1, which is the last element of the array list, which is 3. Then for this purpose, in order to check each element, we need to use a loop. I'm not going to use a for loop for this because while loop is going to be more suitable for us. At first, let's initialize a value of j, which will be equal to n minus 2. Why is that? Because for the comparison of the numbers which we are going to sort it, therefore we need to compare 3 with the earlier elements of the array. So we have to start from the end of the list, at the end of the array. Okay. So before 3 is going to be our insertion number. Therefore, we are going to start from the second element of the last element of the second last element of the array. So which is going to be n minus 2, which is 8, right? N minus 1 is 3, n minus 2 is 8. So we need a while loop here. So the conditions for our while loops is j, at first j must be bigger than 0, because the first element of array is 0. And we need to check that the array list, the array list of the how can I say, the elements of the array list, is it greater than our insertion value? We have to check this part, right? So how can we get our insertion value, which we called here, let's say, okay, let's just, okay, this is j. This should be greater than what? Yeah, our insertion value. You can just call this I actually. I mean, I have used to this using I when I start from J. It makes it looks different from. So our first condition is I must be greater than and equal to 0, because our first element of the array list is starting from 0, 0th element. Our second condition is we need to make sure that our each element is greater than insertion. If it is not, we are going to insert our insertion value into the proper location. Okay, let's make our I as a decrement element. So what we need to do is here we need to set our array list, right? We need to make sure that if 8 is greater than 3, we need to change the value of the last element to 8. Okay. So how can we make that? We can use sets method from the array list. So if I is equal to n minus 2, so that means it's here, right? So we need to make this part 8 as well. Therefore, we are going to use I plus 1. Okay. And this is the index. This is our index number. So we are going to set this 3 to 8. So we are going to get our set value from e value, right? Which I is 8 array gets I is 8. So we are going to set the index element of this fourth element, right? After that, it says us after you finish insertion, you need to print this out. So for this purpose, I am just going to use as for each method, which is from our array list. For each element, let's call elements, we are going to print out the elements, and we need to separate them with a space. And after we finished with this, we need to start from a new line again, right? System dot print ln. So what this is going to do basically is that for let's consider this example. N is 5, then I is 3, right? So 3 is greater than 0. So let's look at the third element, 1, 2, no, 0, 1, 2, 3. The third element is 8. Is 8 greater than the insertion value, which is insertion value is 3. 8 is greater than 3. Therefore, we are going to make the last elements of the array list the 8, right? So this is the result of the first output. Then it will decrease the number of I by 1. So the 3 is going to become 2. 2 is greater than 0. The second element, which is 0, 1, 2, 6. So 6 is greater than 3 again. So this element is going to be 6, equal to be 6, right? Which will be using set method. So after that, it will be it will decrease to 1. I will decrease to 1. So we are going to check at 0, 1. So is 4 greater than 3? Yes, it is greater than 3. After that, it will print it out again as like this. So then it will check for 0. Is 0th element of the array list greater than 3? Is 2 greater than 3? No, it's not greater than 3. Then this loop is ended because of this place, right? The 0th element is not greater than the 3 or insertion element. So this is going to be our result then, right? But at first, we need to, secondly, we need to get our insertion value and make it equal to this part, right? Because this element, because of this 2 is not greater than 3, this loop didn't work. So we couldn't put our third value into proper location. Therefore, we are going to just use an array set again. So which location we are going to put? So we get a 0 element, right, from here at the end. So our 0 element was what we called I, because each time it decreased, at the end it became 0 for us, I. Therefore, we need to add 1, because after the smaller number, we are going to put our insertion value. This is our insertion value. After this, we are going to just print out our list again, and that's it. Let's call this element again. It doesn't matter. It is a variable. It's just a variable. System.out print element. and elements plus 19. And I think that's it. Let's run the code. I haven't logged in. Okay, let's copy this part at first. Let's refresh our page. Let's paste again if it is unchained or something else. Let's run the code again. A wrong answer because of what? Did you use println? Yeah, we have used println here. It will be print. Perfect. Let's submit the code. Very good. All the tests are completed successfully.